a little too sharp or harsh. I've gotten that feedback and I've also felt that. So definitely the larynx damping. I can definitely drop my larynx, but as soon as I start to phonate, it pops back up. So any suggestions on how to really train that more, like to work? Obviously, I've been starting to work on some of the curbing vowels to see about that. But are there specific practices that I can do to try and, get that darker, dampened sound color when I'm, up pretty high in my range?
Well, yeah. So the answer to that would be, first of all, let's just read the question. Larynx dampening, best practice with curbing valves. I can dampen, drop my larynx, but as soon as I vocalize, it pops back up. So sort of the context that this seems to be have a certain message in the message you're not aware of, but I am, and that is, it seems that you seem to be associating curbing valves with larynx dampening, and I think I understand why that is, because in my lesson I probably made a reference to use certain curbing valves. It's possible, you don't quite remember, as an assist to help get the larynx down for dampening. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's fine to get a feel for it.
Okay.
But you're going to be larynx dampening on all the vowels, on the edging vowels, the neutral vowels, and the curbing vowels. All right. And the important thing that I need to intercept and make sure you don't crash into here with this understanding, this false notion that larynx dampening and curbing vowels have some sort of intimate relationship. They really don't. I'll accept some of the blame for that if I made some sort of reference to that in an old video. It's okay. Is that at the end of the day, I don't want you releasing curbing resonance. Now there's the curbing vowels, the 4 vowels in the acoustic modes. That's fine. They're sort of based on their natural default as they exist in speech mode. Okay, so we don't have nice phonetic vowel graphs and things like you see in my book for singers. They don't really exist. So we take it from speech phonetics, right? Okay. And we repurpose it. It kind of works. It's not perfect. One of the imperfections of that graph of the acoustic modes that I think you've probably seen in my program is that graph is saying, oh, E, A, are all forward. Well, they are naturally in speech, but not always in singing. That the curbing vowels, and ooh, the curbing vowels on my graph, they are always back resonant, soft palate resonant vowels in speech mode, says the graph that I took from the speech phonetics people. But they're not always, and all voice coaches do that. We have to sort of do that. But what you don't get is you don't get the explanation that I'm giving you right now. But they're not always back for singing. Okay? And it's a little confusing. And yet I want you guys to be able to categorize the resonance, forward, medium, and back. So it is working to a certain extent, as long as you don't take it too literally.
Okay.
All right. So that's the backstory. So in the end, you'll notice in the acoustic modes, you may have also noticed that there's a preference for resonating forward. There's a bias at the Vocalist Studio for singers for resonating forward, what we call edging vowels or the red vowels inside the acoustic modes. And I see you doing this, which means I know you've been doing your homework and studying. Thank you. That makes my job a little easier. That's great. Okay. Now, you edge vowels as a singer.
Right.
You edge neutral vowels, ah and ah and ah, ah and ah. You put them forward, which is a little more difficult because their natural speech state is center, not forward. And as singers, we edge the curbing vowels as well. In speech, they naturally fall back here, and that's okay. But in singing, part of what we're training to do is to leverage those naturally back-falling curbing vowels forward. So we edge vowels, and they're the easiest because in their natural state, they're forward. We edge neutral vowels, which is maybe a little more difficult. And we train to edge curbing vowels as well.
Okay.
Back to your question. I want a larynx dampen. Best practice for curbing vowels. Well, larynx dampening is not a way to train curbing vowels.
For training curbing vowels does not necessarily train larynx dampening.
Thank you. That's a better way of saying it. Yeah. See, I have to sort of clean that up. Did I create that problem? I'm sorry if I made that confusion for you. Curbing vowels, although it could potentially assist for a moment as a beginner, probably where I was coming from, because it kind of has a dark, warm sound and this sort of thing, but it's not how we train larynx dampening.
Okay.
So I can dampen, drop my larynx, but as soon as I vocalize, it pops back up. So the way that we train larynx dampening is in the larynx anchoring and larynx dampening workout. We do that with, one, the dampen and release onset, right?
Which I haven't gotten to yet.
Okay, the dampen and release onset.
Okay.
Okay, to assist on that, we leverage the tongue by anchoring the tip of the tongue against the back of the bottom teeth. You may have heard something about that yet, but you're still new. If you watch the tongue positioning and anchoring and larynx dampening, you're definitely going to be hearing about it. So when I anchor the tip of my tongue against the back of my bottom teeth, okay, on vowels, it gives me larynx dampening. It doesn't guarantee it. It only sort of helps. It sort of nudges the larynx into the dampened position.
Okay.
So when I'm singing, not consciously aware, but through the training, subconsciously, when I'm singing a vowel, my tongue is anchored, and I'm nudging my larynx down just a smidge to get that warmth that you heard about, okay, and to get my larynx to dampen,
okay,
regardless of the acoustic mode, okay.
Okay. Yep.
So I can curb a curbing vowel, oh, or I can edge a curbing vowel. Oh! You see how it's brighter?
Totally.
All right.
Yeah.
I can curb a curbing vowel. Oh! Or I can edge a curbing vowel. Oh!
And you can curb an edging vowel?
You're smart. And I can curb an edging vowel. I can edge an edging vowel. It's easy. A! By the way, why we do a lot of A in the training? Why? Because A teaches the student to do a horizontal embouchure. That's important. And
Yeah.
A teaches edging. I can also curb an A vowel.
So you're just, the only difference is, are you doing anything with your tongue? Are you pushing your tongue more against the bottom teeth and curbing? Or
It's just anchored at one level.
Whether it's edged or curved. And so the curving, you're just dampening your larynx more and feeling the resonance moving back.
In my demonstration, just gave you all of the vowels had the same amount of tongue anchoring.
Okay.
And all the vowels had the same amount of larynx dampening. It was all dampened. Okay.
But I mean, if you're shifting from an edge,
It's
like
a tongue
edging
movement.
edge,
It's a tongue movement. It's the back of my tongue is curling and making a movement. My tongue is what's moving the resonance forward or back. It's a movement.
Ah.
It's a movement of the tongue in the back that's making the resonance move forward, go to an edging position or a lazy curving position.
got it.
Which I
So the
didn't-
tongue is almost shaping and directing
Yes, it is.
the center of the sound either to the front or more to the back.
That's right.
Okay.
The tongue will determine whether you are in fact edging, neutral, or curbing your resonance. Okay, that's one piece. That's one learning point. The other learning point is for singing, with a very, very few exceptions, 9 out of 10 times, we're going to want to edge all of our vowels, regardless if their nature is to curb in speech mode. Okay?
In one of your lessons, you said that curving was more like bluesy. Like if you're singing blues
Yeah.
or soul or jazz, it's more curbing. So would you still say you want to edge if you're doing more sultry singing versus more like pop rock singing?
That's a good question. We're way overgeneralizing. I wouldn't want you to take this to heart. But yes, pop, rock, metal, aggressive, rhythmic singing, for sure, through the passaggio, head voicey, belty stuff, got to edge it, for sure.
Yeah.
Low chest voice, country music, something sultry, probably still most of it should be edgy, but that's where you're gonna, as a stylistic choice, you're going to want to curb a little more often.
Okay, good.
So there's a video of me singing "My Heroes Have Always Been Cowboys" on YouTube. Check it out; it's pretty cool. All right.
Okay.
So I very consciously wasn't doing this. I grew up dreaming of being a cowboy, knowing the cowboy. I could have, and it would have been fine. That would have been okay. But I purposely, to be stylistic, because I'm singing country and I'm in my chest voice. I grew up dreaming of being a cowboy. And knowing a cowboy. You put some yarls in there. So yarls, where you retract the tongue here, yarls and curbing vowels kind of go good together like peanut butter and jelly.
Got it.
It's good for bluesiness, countryness, low notes on a Pearl Jam song, things like that. I think you get it. It has that kind of vibe. All right. We're in the weeds a little bit, but it's all fun. It's all very interesting. Back to learning how to dampen and release. To dampen your larynx, you can go to the dampen and release onset. Okay? And I leverage the tongue, and there's more to it, but you have more questions, so I don't want to take up too much time on that. Okay? Are we fine?
Okay. Yeah, I'll work on that this week. Great.
Yep. So I think our cue is dampen and release onsets. Yep. Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
Yeah.
Light phonation mass versus falsetto. I may be getting confused, thinking a light mass phonation is falsetto. I love your questions. These are great. A light mass phonation is any phonation that is light in mass. Okay.
So it could be
by your personal standard. Like my light mass is going to be different than the light mass of the 12-year-old girl across the street. Okay. So the mass is also something we have to sort of determine for ourselves. We all can determine a light, like running. What's slow, medium, and fast for me is different than slow, medium, and fast for you. Okay, same with the mass of our phonations. So let's make that point.
Okay.
But a light mass phonation is any phonation that is light in mass by your mass standards.
Okay.
So if that's the case, then falsetto is for sure. Falsetto is a couple things. One, it's a physical mode that's characterized by the vocal folds being open, being kind of windy and girly sounding. We know that, right? That's falsetto. But the other thing that we might say in the bullets of describing falsetto, the characteristics of falsetto vocal mode, is that it's light mass. I mean, a falsetto is the lightest mass for anybody, all ages, creeds, colors, and gender, right? So light phonation mass versus falsetto. The mass of a phonation and physical modes don't really verse each other. That's like bananas and 747s. They don't have any relation to each other. I was going to say manhole.
But has a banana shape. All right, got it.
And this was like in the old back in the day, and you had the yellow airplane. So it was the banana.
Yeah, right.
Actually, could have played on that. So all right, so you're a little confused. Falsetto is a light mass phonation, but it doesn't really have anything to do with heavy medium mass phonations other than it is permanently stuck in a light mass purgatory.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So it's interesting because that maybe ties into that maybe ties into the last one where I'm noticing the passaggio is harder on the way down. And sometimes when I do the lift up, pull down and get really quiet, I can't get back into full voice or, edging. So I'm wondering if I'm softening down into falsetto and then can't get back.
Next question. Working on lighter phonation mass. I'm glad that you are. Most of the performance at this time is in a small setting. This is your gig without amplification. Really? Okay. The room is small, so I need to be able to modulate the volume. Okay, must be very small. Belting is not appropriate. I seem to be able to tune more effectively at higher mass phonations. Yes, because you have more inertia. There's more respiration. The vocal folds are activated more. When you have more, when the cogs, we have more machinery and the mechanism moving, you can steer it and turn it and do things with it. If you don't have enough, if there's not enough wind to turn the pinwheel, then you can't do anything with it, right? You have to have enough sort of physical inertia to get to be able to turn the steering wheel. So that's a good observation. So you'd be able to more effectively when you're at a medium or higher mass. Sure, of course. What do you recommend for training, tuning efficiency with lower mass phonations? Great. Stick with lower mass phonations, but keep the mass at a point by which you can still turn the steering wheel.
Okay. So find that sweet spot where it feels like it's quiet enough, but I have enough that I can get that tuning happening. I can hear it. I can feel it.
You have to get the mechanism and the respiration and how it makes the vocal folds oscillate. That whole sort of chain reaction, you got to get it moving enough that you can begin to turn the steering wheel on the lawnmower. That makes sense? Like it has to have a bare minimum of physics and inertia behind it so that you can work it.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's just dead weight tissue with no ice to skate on.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Makes sense.
Twang versus quack. I've been told in the past that my voice can be grating or harsh. Is that too much twang or is it too much quack? Honestly, one of the best answers I could give to you on this is that it's too much opinion from people that don't know what they're talking about, for starters.
Well, I listen and I sometimes hear that too. Like when I hear my voice, I mean, it has shifted since I've been working with your program, which is good, obviously. But in the past, like especially when I get up into the higher registers, like it's sharp, it's harsh. It's like,
now I'm not denying that your voice doesn't sound too quacky, and I'm still getting to know your voice on high notes and this and that. I'm not even arguing with these other folks. It's just that for years I've heard this sort of thing. My point in that is don't let what unqualified ears, if they weren't a voice coach or, a really accomplished musician that's been gigging with you for years, they sort of have some qualification to the ears. They know it sounds good. They know your voice. But just be careful about there's something to take away from that sort of thing, which is, all right, you may not know what you're talking about, but what you do know is what you enjoyed and what you didn't enjoy. So if I'm going to be accountable and not be a complete denial, give it some merit and give it some thought, but that doesn't mean that what they're talking about is the problem. Human behavior. Okay. Twang versus quack. I've been told in the past that my voice can be grating or harsh. Is that too much twang? Okay. So to your question, it wouldn't be too much twang. Twang, among other things, one of the things it's defined by is it's going to be pleasant. It's going to result in arguably a pleasant sound color. When twang begins to transcend and turn into something that isn't pleasant, that we wouldn't put in a song, that's when it becomes quack.
Okay.
Twang is the beautiful swan. Quack is the
ugly duckling. Yep.
We go from beautiful to ugly. See, at some point you wouldn't put that in the song unless you were working at Disney.
Yep.
Okay, and that's the best way to define it. They're very closely related. They're both birds. They're cousins. They're cousins. They're really very closely related. Quack is just simply twang compressed so hard it goes beyond the singing aesthetic.
Got it.
And we get value out of that in the training, as you know. Okay, great questions. God, I love this stuff. Okay, in general, I feel my voice quality could use more of the darker curbing. There's that curbing confusion again, but it's okay. More of a darking, dampened, warm color. More practice with curbing valves? No,
got that. You figured that one out.
Practicing modifying the edging valves a bit towards curbing. Nope, just practice curbing. I'll just practice larynx damping. Yeah. Do the dampen and release onset. That's it.
Okay.
So it gets a confusion that the vowels are affecting the physiology of larynx dampening and not really. Okay. Last but not least, passaggio. Passaggio is 2 G's, not 1.
Okay.
Passaggio, harder on the way down. Yes, that's typical for most people.
Okay.
No, actually, I correct myself. No, it's actually more difficult from the bottom up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Passaggio, harder on the way down. I've been practicing more in that direction. Okay. Also practicing the lift up, pull back, where we open the vocal folds and we open the glottis, go through the passaggio, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes that's great. Good to hear that. Releases constriction, gets you bridging. Sometimes I have to lighten up so much, though, that the passaggio that I can't quite get back to a higher density mass. I understand. You can't get back to the higher density mass on the other side in the head voice after getting through the passaggio.
Or either way.
Either way. Okay.
Yeah.
It seems to also help to really belt, yes. So sometimes there's good old-fashioned inertia with an attack and release onset or a dampen release onset. Just pull the boot on, works. Just smacking things around a little bit in a healthy way with cry mode. Smacking things around in vocal training actually helps often. So that's okay. It seems to also help to really belt, but I want to be able to bridge with lighter phonations. You'll get it. That's just a coordination motor skills movement.
Okay. So
right, that's the game you play. You've only been doing this for like a week or two. You're just being impatient.
Okay.
Lift the pull back in the shower, in the car, in your practice sessions. Keep doing it. And you'll get it. You'll get it. And at some point, the lift up, pull back will just be. You'll be connected. You'll just be going through. Either just naturally you'll start going through, or you'll just realize one day, gosh, I want to stop doing this and just go through. I just want to take the training wheels off and just go. And you'll realize, oh, okay, I've probably been able to do that for weeks.
Right.
Okay, so shall we train a little bit here? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, track and release, please. When you release the vowel, release it to an edging position. Okay, after all that work said and done about edging, okay, so I want you to cry. That's a really great mantra that I came up with. You get a 2-for-1. You get cry mode and good edging vowels. You get the physiology plus the acoustics. Cry into the back of your top teeth.
Okay.
Completely abstract. Just think that. Okay? Thank you.
Okay. Using this.
Yep. So you're following the workout right. You're doing the routine right. That's great. I'm glad to hear that you're just doing the workout right. And, it's interesting because my instincts are telling me the first thing I want to know, I'm inspired to I feel like I want to say to you is, yeah, we need to get your larynx down. Yeah, we got to get your larynx down. You need to dampen your larynx. So
I know.
That's what you've been trying to tell me. I've been listening. Yeah. So, right. Okay. So let's work on that a little bit, okay? Larynx dampening, all right? And if you get, and you will, you get your larynx down, it's going to warm all that up, and you'll be just in that right spot, and you won't be sort of brittle and quacky, really, not nearly as much. This is what we're getting. It's kind of brittle. It lacks some cry mode. If you cry into it harder, you'll warm that up, by the way. Okay? You need to cry harder into your vowel. That's the first thing that has to happen.
Okay.
Plus, you're going to protect your voice. It's good vocal health. 3, take the tip of your tongue and leverage it against the back of your bottom teeth. Okay, when you release that vowel. Okay, will you just try that a cappella for me, please? Okay, now give it instead of going straight into the lens, give me profile so I can see your embouchure and other things when we do this. Thank you. Okay, that actually has dampening in it. Did you recognize that? Did that seem a little different?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I definitely was pushing my tongue more, and I wasn't really trying to force this down, but I was just kind of visualizing it down a little bit.
That's all it takes. If you force it, you'll dump and not dampen. You'll go too far and you'll sound like a sick seal. Be careful. Okay? So now let me just show you. I do talk about this in the larynx anchoring, larynx dampening, and dampen and release onset. So you're going to get this when you go to your homework. Okay? But look. Listen to how the harmonics in my voice change as I go from a neutral position to a dampened position. You hear that? It's sort of a rounded versus I call it the Elmer Fudd harmonic. Okay, you just get a little bit of Elmer Fudd in there. Can you do this for me? Tip of the tongue against the back of your bottom teeth. We're going to do a little staccato glottal attacks. Okay, just do this. And we're listening for that round, warm harmonic in there.
With this?
That's fine. Here you go. Up a short. Right. That's dampening. See the ishness in the rest of all that color. That's so that warm the warm grunty harmonic in there. That's the symptom of the larynx dampening.
Okay.
So I can go, or I can go. That's all dampened. The second one was all dampened, and it kept me from sounding like a choking duck. It gives me the warmth, exactly precisely what you're asking for.
Yeah.
Okay, so try. So now we transition into our dampen and release onset. We do a technique that kind of gets us into that. Do this. I'm going to say, baby, babe. Babe, babe. Pop off the B. The B has energy behind it, like a bow and arrow. Pop off the B and get into the Elmer Fudd harmonic. Babe, 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 baby, babe. Try that, please. Babe, 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 baby, babe. That's good. Okay. Two things, but do it with a super embouchure, monsieur, and get the resonance for it. Babe, babe, baby, baby, babe. Babe, 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 babe. Okay. There you go. You're getting it, and you're sort of getting the instruction. The last thing that you're not doing here is you need to understand that the dampen release onset is aggressive. All right, that's pushed out a little bit too much. We pop that sucker. There you go. Then TVS methodology, get a good onset and then put it on the move. So we'll do something like this. Not warmed up. 5 pops, dampen, and then pull through the passaggio to the 5th above, please. Do it.
Are you doing siren, or are you doing the 5 notes?
That was a siren, wasn't it? Yeah, siren. Okay.
I'm having a little trouble hearing when you're doing this. It like shuts down.
You have to change my audio settings on Zoom. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah, that's dampen and release.
Nice.
That's dampen and release and a dampened larynx all the way through the passaggio. That did not sound quacky.
Good. No, it didn't feel quacky.
And it doesn't feel quacky. So keep crying, keep dampening. Let's try another one.
Babe, 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 babe.
A little sharp on that cadence. But no big deal.
A little sharp.
Good job. That's it. I want you to pop off that plosive more aggressively. It's still sort of pushed out a little bit. Hit it a little bit harder, okay?
Babe, 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 babe.
Did that sound quacky?
No.
Did that feel quacky?
No.
I confirm. It did not sound, nor did it feel quacky.
Awesome. Okay. So I got to work on this.
So there's your larynx dampening you were asking for.
Awesome.
Utilize plosives, the energy that's pent up behind releasing a plosive in speech phonetics to sort of back push, ricochet the larynx into that position. And you can do it with a P or a D or a T as well. B tends to be the best one. Babe, 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 babe. Baby, babe. Your turn. No.
Babe, 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 babe.
That's it.
Cool. Yeah.
It is cool. You're a quick read.
Good.
So now you put that in your singing on everything, especially everything above the passaggio, and it won't sound quacky. You won't be quacky. You won't be the choking duck anymore. You'll be big and boomy, and you'll be sounding like Bruce Dickinson.
Cool.
Which might be a little loud for that small venue, but just saying.
Yeah. Only a little bit.
All right. Good job. That's it. And that's a real powerful technique and a key thing that I've taught for many years. In fact, each one of these tour posters here had sort of a theme around it, honestly. And I think, what was it? I can't remember. One of these older ones, like this one or something, was the larynx dampening tour.
Got it. You were really focused on that as your technique.
Yeah. Early on, there was the twang tour, then there's the larynx dampening tour, then there's the vocal distortion tour, then there's the last one I did was the cry mode tour.
Oh, sweet.
You got to come out with new stuff,
Yeah, totally.
So anyways, good job. You really did a great job.
Awesome. Thank you, Robert. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome, buddy. I'm really excited to be working with you because you pick it up quickly and makes it more fun.
Awesome. Cool.
All right.
Most singers have a huge problem singing from the chest voice through the vocal break and into the head voice without pushing, without squeezing, without choking, without experiencing instability problems, and without sounding weak and windy on top. I know this because I dedicated my life to helping singers learn how to fix that problem. My name is Robert Lunte, and I'm the founder of the Vocalist Studio. Work with my training program, and if you do your part in practice, I guarantee you'll fix that problem. I look forward to hearing from you.